Hello there, my dear fellow enophiles and aspiring wine connoisseurs. Today's quest will be to resolve an enigma that's been bewildering wine lovers across the centuries. Do wines really have different textures? So grab a glass of wine or two because we're about to dive headfirst into this texture debate. We'll explore a delightful blend of science, facts, knowledge, and of course, with a generous sprinkling of fun. Let's start by setting the stage for our adventure. Picture yourself at an elegant wine tasting surrounded by a sea of wine aficionados. As you listen to them discussing wines with terms such as creamy and opulent, light and silky, luscious and velvety, and even chewy, you can't help but think, what in the grape's name is going on? You take another sip of wine and you find yourself both confused and intrigued. However, to maintain your cool exterior, you're not in agreement, pretending to grasp the depths of the textured universe. Fear not, my curious comrades, because together we shall unravel this mystery and demystify the world of wine textures. Let's start our journey by delving into the realm of science, where we'll be unlocking the secrets behind wine textures, so prepare to be amazed. According to the wise scholars at the National Library of Medicine, wines are a symphony of diverse components, all frolicking together in every sip. From the charismatic ethanol, which is basically wine's booziest buddy, to the elegant phenolic compounds, which are the fancy stuff found in grapes and can be influenced by fermentation, winemaking processes, and the aging of wines. And let's not forget about glycerol, which is yet another delightful byproduct of fermentation, polysaccharides, which is a fancy name for large sugar molecules, and acidity. Ethanol, the life of the wine party, used to take all the credit for a wine's body. But as research has shown, ethanol is not the sole influencer of a wine's body or viscosity. Turns out it's a team effort. Alcohol can create sensations like hot, warming, or even a touch of burning, especially in wines that are high in tannins. And when tannins and alcohol play together, they sure know how to bring out the bitter flavors. Now let's talk about sugars. According to the esteemed BioWeb of conferences, residual sugars in wines encompass all fermentable sugars excluding glycerol, which is actually a sugar alcohol, which we'll come to shortly. Sweetness in wines contribute to tactile sensations of fullness, unctuousness, and softness. The level of residual sugars can vary depending on factors such as the leftover sugars which were unconsumed by the yeast which slowly died off or were removed, or even some sweetness which was added to the final wine. As an example, the level of sweetness in champagne is greatly influenced by its liqueur d'expedition, which is a simple solution of sugars and wine that is used to top up the bottle after the frozen plug of dead yeast or lees is removed. Polysaccharides come from the grapes and yeast themselves, plus through their interactions during winemaking processes such as fermentation. These rascals are also extracted during destemming, crushing, and pressing, so they're not exclusive to red wines, as some people might believe. Amongst these polysaccharides, we have the wine world's secret superheroes, the mighty monoproteins, which are found in abundance in the lees, which are the remnants of yeast after fermentation. During the fermentation process, the yeast devour sugars until their very last breath, and then they turn into lees. These incredible beings possess extraordinary powers in the realm of winemaking. They swoop in to stabilize the wine's proteins, tartrates, and color, saving the day by reducing astringency, which is that mouth-puckering, drying sensation, plus they enhance the aromas and flavors of wines. But that's not all that they do. These mighty monoproteins join forces to tame those feisty tannins, making wines taste smoother and rounder, whilst adding a touch of body and mouthfeel. And where might you find these wine wonders? Look no further than wines that have undergone the magical process of surly aging. During this extended rest, the wine gets cozy with the lees, whether in barrels, tanks, or even champagne bottles for months or even years. It's during this close encounter that the yeast autolyze, breaking down with the help of enzymes. As a result, a fantastic release of amino acids, proteins, and carbohydrates occur, infusing the wine with richness, complexity, and textures. The true superheroes of the story, though, are the monoproteins that are set free during this process. They step forward, bringing a creamy, velvety, and rounded mouthfeel to the wine. And that's not all. They also unveil the yeasty flavors of toasted goodness, such as brioche, croissants, and other baked wonders. Some examples of such heroic feats include Albariños, Newell-style Chardonnays, Chablis, Loire-style Sauvignon Blancs and Muscadet, and Champagne. And according to ResearchGate, yet another reason why least contact is so important in sparkling wine production such as champagne is because they help to stabilize the foam, so those fine luxurious bubbles can continuously form. And here's another fun experiment that was quoted: wine lees have even been added to ice cream, successfully making it smoother and keeping it fresh for a longer period of time. Plus, it added some healthy stuff called antioxidants, which are super for our health. Isn't it awesome that the waste of wine making can be used to make ice cream even more delicious and healthier for us? The word may conjure images of soaps and suds, and yes, they're used to produce soap because they help to moisturize our skin so it's as smooth as a baby's bottom. But did you know that it's actually the most abundant byproduct of the fermentation process by yeast after alcohol and carbon dioxide? And although glycerol is not recognized as a sugar per se, as it's a sugar alcohol, it does make wines taste fuller with a splash of sweetness, creating more pleasant textures along the way. Think oiliness, persistence, and mellowness. Now, I can see you raising your eyebrows at me. Oiliness? Seriously? And yes, seriously. Viognier is a fruity and perfumed grape from the Rhône, most famously from Chateau Grier and Condrieu, that is frequently described as oily. And the presence of noble rot can dramatically increase glycerol levels. And what is noble rot? It's that special pizzazz, like penicillium and blue cheese, that creates unique notes such as honey and marmalade in some of the world's most acclaimed sweet wines, such as those of Sauternes and Tokai. And if you'd like to learn about the different types of sweet wines, including those which are affected by noble rot, be sure to check out my video up here. Imagine you're in a magical world of flavors where fruits, vegetables, and certain tree barks, such as the special O, have superpowers. Right. I hope you knew that the special O meant oak. Well, back to the world of wines, where there are these amazing compounds that give wines a lot of their special qualities. Phenolic compounds are like the producers of the wine film. They're responsible for putting together those vibrant colors, tantalizing aromas, and fascinating flavors that you experience whenever you're sipping on your favorite wine. They are found in the skins, seeds, and stems of grapes, bringing a whole lot of excitement to your glass. These phenolic producers have different abilities and come in a splendid array that's influenced by factors such as grape variety, winemaking techniques, and the graceful passage of time during wine aging. Anthocyanins are like artists painting the wines with gorgeous colors such as ruby red, inky purple, or golden yellow. Others like vanillin and eugenol are like perfumers, filling the air with aromas of fruits, flowers, and even spices. And let's not forget about the taste masters, adding that punch of flavor such as smooth vanilla or a touch of bitterness. And speaking of bitterness, let's talk about tannins, which are a type of polyphenol. They're the unruly rebels that's responsible for that mouth-drying, puckering sensation that we call astringency. Need a mental image? Imagine sipping on oversteeped black tea or biting into an unripe persimmon. That gripping sensation, that's tannins in action. Wines rich in tannins can often earn colorful descriptions such as coarse, grainy, chewy, grippy, and even velvety. And bitterness, which is the cheeky companion of tannins, can amplify astringency and stir up our perception of it. But here's the twist. Polyphenols have an even greater role to play. They're not just about tannins and astringency. Different grape varieties, even white ones, have different levels of anthocyanins. These are the color pigments that bring hues to life. Think red, blue, and purple. Yes, they're responsible for the colors in the plant world. Think eggplant, tomatoes, and of course, grapes. For instance, let's take a sip of Pinot Gris. As its name suggests, gris in French translates into grey, giving the grape its beautiful pinkish grey colors thanks to its color pigments. Compare it with grapes such as Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blancs and you'll see a distinct difference in color. And in Alsace, the land of winemaking wonders, they take Pinot Gris to new heights. Big, opulent, rounded, velvety, and generous. A lot of this comes from macerating the grapes with their skins either before or during fermentation, like brewing a pot of tea. This extracts an array of phenolic compounds, resulting in a tapestry of flavors and textures that will leave you mesmerized. And in the world of wines, the exact opposites may exist, and purely due to different winemaking choices. Let's head to Italy for a typical Pinot Grigio experience. Same grape, completely different style. These wines forgo any skin contact, opting for quick filtration, stabilization, and bottling after an easy-peasy fermentation. This preserves their fresh, fruity, and youthful character, resulting in a light, refreshing, and crisp wine. But there's still more. These phenolic compounds are great for your health. They act as little defenders, fighting off those nasty free radicals that can harm your body. And for those of us who chase the fountain of youth, it even fights off cellular aging. So whilst we're enjoying a glass of wine, these phenolic compounds are silently working their magic, keeping us happy, healthy, and youthful. But that doesn't mean that we should drink a bottle of wine a day. Acidity also plays a crucial role in wine textures, but unlike the other textured heroes, it subtracts from the body of a wine. Wines that are higher in acidity can taste more vibrant, refreshing, and crisp, but it's all about balance. Too much and you'll have a thin and watery puddle. Too little and you'll have a heavy, flabby flubber wine. Now I know what you're thinking. What on earth does temperature have to do with the textured wonders of wine? The answer is plenty, and prepare to have your mind blown, because temperature holds the key to unlocking a whole new world of sensory experiences. Picture this, you pour a glass of red wine at room temperature in Kuala Lumpur, a lovely 30 degrees Celsius. You take a sip and bam! The alcohol hits you like a fiery punch, leaving you with a burning sensation. But the wine had 92 points from Robert Parker and 91 points from James Suckling. These wine critics know nothing. I'm sorry to tell you that the problem wasn't with the wine or with the wine critics, but you had served the wine at the wrong temperature. Chill the wine down to a cool 16 to 18 degrees Celsius and you'll soon see the smooth, velvety textures that the wine critics were raving about. Lower temperatures have a way of taming that alcohol beast, making it more subdued and well-behaved. But here's the thing, one temperature hat does not fit all. If you decide to turn down the temperature dial to Arctic freeze, watch out, because those tannins will become hostile and aggressive. They despise the cold and they're not afraid to show it. So let's keep the tannins happy and avoid icy temperatures. Ice wine, Trockenburen Auslesers, and Rutherglen Muscats, those little nectars of joy. Now, if you dare to serve them warm, be ready for a syrupy disaster. They become as clumsy as Godzilla in a city, tripping over their own sweetness and overwhelming you with cloying sweetness. But fear not, there is a solution. Sweet wines thrive in colder temperatures where their acidity can shine like a star, balancing out their glorious sweetness and ensuring a delightful consistency. So if you find your wine misbehaving in the texture department, take a moment to ponder the temperature that you've served it at. And if you're thirsting for more knowledge on why wine temperatures matter, because they absolutely do, I have the perfect video to quench your curiosity up here. Now let's uncover the missing link in this textured tale. Scientists, ever the curious bunch, decided to delve into the world of human saliva. They always knew that ethanol, polysaccharides, and glycerol played a role in wine textures, but they decided, let's mix it up with some human saliva and see what happens. So off they went to the National Library of Medicine. They recruited not one, but two different panels to embark on this blind tasting adventure. The first panel had a year's training in the art of mouthfeel, whilst the expert panel consisted of enology teachers, students, and professionals. And guess what happened? They couldn't agree on anything. The trained panel placed their bets on glycerol, manoproteins, or perhaps a combination of both to be the real culprits behind wine textures. Meanwhile, the expert panel rolled their eyes and said, hell no, ethanol is the true king of the wine's body, period. According to the study, glycerol and manoproteins are indeed the dynamic duo that's responsible for the luxurious and velvety sensations in wine. The study also disclosed that our superheroes manoproteins and ethanol can actually help to tame down the astringency, turning it into a more enjoyable sensation. So whilst each component has something to bring to the table of textures, it's a sum of everything that creates the final experience. Like I said, it's all about finding that perfect balance. While science tries to decode the intricacies, let's not forget the wild power of our own senses, which are highly subjective and easily manipulated. Let's rewind the clock to the 1930s, where the Italian futurists threw the most mind-bending parties of all time. These avant-garde soirees pushed boundaries and unleashed sensory explosions through food and beverages. Guests donned pajamas made of the quirkiest materials: silk, velvet, sandpaper, and cork, you name it, as they savored delightful morsels and sipped on heavenly libations, including our beloved wines. They were tasked with touching their partner's pajamas simultaneously and describing the experience thereafter. Can you imagine? They were light years ahead, recognizing that textures of food and beverages were not confined to what we smelled and tasted in our mouths, but could also be influenced by the touch and feel of our surroundings. And the most important thing, drink what you like. Life is too short. So my fellow wine explorers, armed with this newfound knowledge, go forth and savor the delightful textures in your favorite wine with a new sense of awe and appreciation.